Hello all you cubers out there, welcome back to The Cuber. As you can probably tell, this isn't your ordinary The Cuber video. For a while now, my dad has been investing in these weird thing called NFTs, or non-fungible tokens. Every now and then he would go across the internet, investing a bit here and investing a bit there, and at first I wasn't very interested in it. I mean, sure, the thought of buying, owning, and being able to sell digital currency was cool, but I didn't think too much of it. That wasn't until I heard about NFT games. I mean, I've heard of purchasing in-game currency to buy items and such, but never have I heard of being able to sell those digital items for in-game currency that could then be traded back for real money. My God, what a concept! After this discovery, I was definitely more intrigued than I was before, and I was kind of wanting to join my dad's NFT quest. But on our newfound quest, we found an even greater quest in our Oculus quest. We had found the NFT game that felt perfect for us, and it's still only in its alpha stage. The particular game that I'm talking about is Revomon. It may seem obvious now why I've been so interested in it now, as Pokemon was my thing all the way up until middle school. And it felt so bizarre to be inside of this universe. And also being able to chat and directly talk to other people online. Not to mention all the time I spent giggling like an idiot using the slingshot mechanism to throw the ball in the air, making it fall on my face, and swaying side to side with an adorable blazon I found in the wild. So I may be having a bit of a blast. However, there seems to be a small lack of token in this non-fungible token game. And by that, I mean the design of it. You only get to see it once or twice in the entire game thus far, one being in the startup sequence. I often find myself questioning the lack of their most recognizable pieces of art, then I question that weird giant beam in the center of every town. I also thought it would look pretty cool if there was a 3D model of it in the game. And if there was, what would it look like? And if there was a real-life token, what would that look like? These thoughts never left the back of my head, and 2 months later this exists. It's been a long ride to make that happen, and I'm gonna take you along for the ride too. Only after I find out how dizzy I can get when spinning clockwise while also turning the joystick right. The world must have answers! Originally, when I first had the idea to make a Revomon token at my own house, I had the idea to make it completely out of resin using a silicone mold, making it semi-see-through and glossy, which is what I thought they were going for with the logo token icon thingy they already made. This would be much easier said than done, however, as without a pre-existing professionally made token to make a cast with, it'd be nearly impossible to make a cast in the first place, so I had to find some other way to approach this dilemma. But how in the world could I possibly make a 3D token like that with such precision and detail to make it look like it jumped straight out of a virtual world? Oh yeah, the plastic printer fire machine! This works perfectly as we got in this 3D printer a couple months prior. Now it was my turn to make a 3D Revo token icon logo thingy model. My basic goal in making the 3D model token is to make it as accurate to the token icon logo thingy as possible, but to also find a cool way to show where the paint is supposed to be applied later on. But the first thing on the to-do list was to make the base of the token, which turned out to be pretty easy, as it's just a hexagon with rounded corners. The art in the middle, though, turned out to be a completely different story. I couldn't find the font that they used for the token or their written logo, so instead of continuously looking for a non-warped version of the letter R, I wanted to make it a challenge to see how close I could make it look. So I took a screenshot, worked it using a kind of awful picture editing app, drew away the imperfections, and boom! One 3D model conversion later, and all things are looking swell. Next up on the list was to add some detail to the sides, where the color changes, so we know exactly where to paint. Eventually I made 2, technically 3, variations of the Revo token 3D model. The first one I may have taken some creative liberties, It was a relatively small model, designed to be as big as a half a dollar. I also curved the edge details upwards as I thought it would look cool on the computer. But it turns out, it don't look cool when 3D printed. Since 3D printers print in small layers, it was very noticeable where the curves were, and they did not look good, especially for its size. Afterwards, I made version 3, which was a bit bigger than version 1, and instead of having its edges curl upwards, there were just small indents where the colors changed. The reason I didn't mention version 2 is that it's basically version 3, except all the minor imperfections were later removed. This not only looked more faithful to the original design, but also looked better after the 3D printing process, which I was able to get a recording of. And instead of me blabbering the whole time, I'll just put on some nice Revomon music for the printing. Enjoy! It's done already? Huh, that's weird. It usually takes about 2 hours to print. Guess that means we can get to painting it quicker. But what paint would fit the token? As we ourselves learned, is not matte pink with purple paints, and it wasn't shiny indigo either. The Revomon logo itself kinda has a gradient on the edges, where it fades from one color to another, so it seemed like it was some kind of lighting effect. Regardless of whether or not it was lighting or actual color, I was determined to find some way that looked right. And of course, my parents done it again. They found this nice chameleon pigment online where it could be either blue or purple depending on how you look at it. 1 3-day shipping and me being impatient later, the pigment finally arrived. It seemed that after all this time, my 2-month-long adventure will have finally come to an end. There would finally be a real, physical Revomon token. We mixed up the pigment and loaded up the airbrush, and it clogged immediately. Yep. Apparently the paint we used that we mixed up with the pigment doesn't make paint. It makes clumps. Noted. I do have some good news though. We finally found a way to do it, and even experimented with some extra tokens I made. And some of those results are absolutely stunning. And we shall finally see it all in part 2. Yeah, sorry I had to end the video like this, but I'm pretty sure if I try to add even a couple more minutes of this editing software, my computer will fry itself. And besides, this gives some of the experiments more time to dry. I'm just super happy that today, I'm finally able to share the progress I made. As you can probably tell, I am super proud of myself. And as we still have more progress to look forward to, I'm happy about the progress I made, and yet there's still more progress to be seen. Though I won't be able to show you the experiments I've been working on, I can show you a bunch of the experiments I've worked on in the past with these tokens, and to see how far we've gotten. Until then, this is the Cuber signing out. Thank you so much for watching.